Alright, we're live. What's up, guys? It's your boy today coming with you with a new video. I actually wanted to, take my time in this video. I guess, uh, as you can see by the title, we're actually talking about, you know, the, I guess you could say my opinion, to be more exact, on how I see Mexico, moving on with through this World Cup. How this will end up for them. And I think we all have an idea and an opinion already built up on what we've already seen, right? A lot of players getting injured that probably would be useful for us, or players that you know wouldn't wish to play. And we're not gonna name any names either. Like I said, there's too much politics going around with this Mexico team. It's always been like that. It's just whatever pride. You know what I mean? There's a lot of aspects to it. There's a lot of opinions too, like I said, including mine flying around. And like I said, I'd rather not talk too much about it. But you guys know that being unfortunate the way that this turned out for us. Obviously, I can't really say it's like the worst thing that's ever you know happened in the history of this national team. um I think 7-2 is probably the worst thing that ever happened to us against a club Chile. Like I said, I'm not trying to talk shit, but kind of am. Anyways, guys, I want to go ahead and get into the video. Um, First, by starting to look at the call up roster, or the roster for the World Cup, right? All right, so let me go ahead and pull this up. Got it right here. All right, so already seeing a lot of names. When I first saw this in the morning, I was kind of just like, why do you wait till today to do this, right? And I know we have injuries and all this shit, but even if you do a call up, it doesn't mean that like after you call them up, even if they get an injury, you can't just, you know what I mean? Just get someone else. Like it's very basic. In my opinion, it's very stupid. For to wait for this to happen. All these players are already, you know, um, we're already like kind of just predicted to be in this team, which is kind of just like tells you what kind of position this manager is in. And not only just him, just the people above him as well, what position they're in at the moment. I mean, I kind of already figured this was gonna happen. Like I said, a lot of these names that you see on here were just kind of names that were gonna be obviously called up. And like I said, I don't have much to argue with this roster. Obviously, there are a lot of other names that a lot of us think would have made a bigger difference, right? But like I said, anyways, let's go ahead and figure out what we think will be the first formation that Tata Martino will use. And if I'm not mistaken, Mexico's first match, I had just seen it, I believe is against it was either Argentina or was it Poland? I think it was Argentina, no? No, it's against Poland, right? Okay, so that's pretty much like the deter. Yeah, I'm being an idiot. I don't know. It's because we have like I think there's like another match with Sweden. Regardless, guys, there is probably a lot of predictions to say as to what kind of team we'll be using against this Poland. And you might say, okay, why are you talking about this? Because we already know Mexico's not gonna get that far, probably, right? And as you might say, yeah, you know what I mean. It seems like a logical thing to think, but one thing that I really want to point out. All right, so we already know that Martino always uses a 4-3-3, right? So the four center backs, and like I said, the center backs, my opinion, I haven't said this at all, right? This is the first time you ever seen me say something like this because you don't know who I am. But Martino always has trouble forming a strong defense because he doesn't know how to make that kind of, link ups with players. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to teams that make a strong defense, because the thing about national football is that it's so beautiful because it's just an art of you making players that play in different clubs in different parts of the world, even though they're born from the same country or naturalized from the same country, right? To be specific, uh, to make some sort of chemistry out of nowhere and be able to outperform all these other teams in the World Cup football, right? Because that's what makes World Cup football so beautiful. That there's no there's no time for you to link somebody up, you know, um, link a bunch of players up together. That's why France were not really that good in 2014 during the World Cup because they didn't have that kind of, I guess you could say they didn't have that kind of level yet. But to me, they did. I feel like they had so many good players even back then, even before Mbappe. But like I said, obviously Mbappe was a breakthrough for France for them to win this last World Cup. But regardless, like I said, the why I'm speaking about this is because if you look at the Polish squad, they have they lost in the Euros, right? They didn't go that far. They lost to Sweden 3-2, right? And I was looking at previous matches of how they play, and I realized that a lot of these players, they're all in obviously in Europe, and they're in most of them are in Serie A because I watch Serie A, right, and I hear them whenever the commentators say the Polish player. So I hear Polish like literally every like three video matches I watch every day because I watch almost all the Serie A videos. Um, I don't know why. I just like watching Serie A, right? But regardless, like I said, guys, I do see a lot of Polish players coming from Serie A. Maybe not specifically the ones that are called up, right? But a lot of them that are playing in the top five leagues are mostly in Serie A, and you see some in League One, you see some in La Liga, Bayern, like I mean like not like Bayern, excuse me, the Bundesliga. Um, yeah, but like I said, I've seen how they play. Their strikers is probably one of the things we have to take in mind, when we're talking about um this team's strength, you could say, or like what's their threat to other teams. It's their strikers. Obviously, we have Iman Lewandowski. We have the midfielders too, Zielinski, coming from a team that's been winning. They've literally got top position in the Champions League group, right? So he's right now. I'm expecting him to play a magnificent game against Mexico, including it being his first game. The fullbacks too, they're actually very nice when it comes to their build up on their team. The way that they play is a way that I wish our fullbacks would play. They have so much creativity, so much freedom with the way they play. They do their job. That's what I'm trying to say. And when I see Mexico, the way they play, um, obviously it's a different kind of football. But if we also take in mind, I also saw this. They literally lost a match to Mexico 2 years ago, I think. I'm not gonna look at it the video, right? But I think I have the score somewhere here. I don't actually. Maybe it's I need to go back somewhere, but oh my here we go. So they played against Mexico back in 20s. Was it 2017? No, it wasn't. Was it? If it was 2 years ago, that would have been 2020. It was whatever. So it was 4 years in, right? 4 or 5 years ago. So this is like maybe around like the World Cup time, like maybe was it before the World Cup? Yeah. Okay. So at that, even in the 2018 World Cup, they ended up bottom of their group stage. Mexico obviously passed, being like second place. Was it? I don't remember. Yeah, they were second place, and Sweden went first. which was a horrible game. I don't even want to talk about that game. That game was trash. The way they play the game, and it's like I said, a lot of the teams, a lot of people that give their opinion in terms of Mexico and their football, they say that their football doesn't work around these kind of teams because Sweden is a very similar team to Poland. Obviously, they're a stronger team because they took them out. They took them out, which I'm actually glad about. I'm glad they're not playing with Sweden and it's Poland because, like I said, they have a slight chance. They do have a slight chance because um obviously Mexico doesn't play high level football, but they have the tools, okay, players that can get the job done, in my opinion. And obviously, in my opinion, the biggest weakness for Mexico would be their defense. I think their defense don't communicate well with each other. They don't have that commitment that they usually would have, and it's always been a big problem for Mexico when it comes to counterattacks. All these teams that are very determined to score. They already have like that culture around them. Usually coming from European teams that they know what they're doing. They're just very well experienced players in those teams, and that's the thing about World Cup football, that you bring a mix of the older players that have had previous campaigns in the World Cup, and you bring new players, and they learn from that. From their to their when they continue with their careers, they learn to grow from those experiences and become the next players to take their national team up, into higher, if they can, higher into bigger positions. And when it comes to national level football, like I said, I mean, that's why I kind of understand why some of these players are called up. Like I said, Ochoa was an okay player to call. A lot of people didn't want him to go. Honestly, the thing is that he's still fit. He's been the Mexican goalkeeper, their star goalkeeper, for who knows how long now. I honestly think other goalkeepers could have came aside from, let's say Talavera, but like I said, that's a personal opinion. I still think as long as we have a goalkeeper, why would even, you know, just as long as we know that we have players that can replace somebody if they're injured, but that everybody in that roster have had that experience with the, or need to get that experience still to to be at that level for that national team. And in this case, we're talking about Mexico. Like I said, um, if there's somebody that I say is on fire right now, would be this guy right here. Edson Alvarez, obviously even Lozano too. He's starting to shine back again. If you saw the game, I think it was before the game against Colombia. I think it was. I don't remember what game it was actually. Who was it against? There was a game before Mexico. Was it? Was in Iraq. I don't remember. They won like 1-0, which is still very trash. I think it was this one. Yeah, it was against Nigeria. Was it? Okay, I'm not trying to. It's Paraguay. There you go, Paraguay. So no, they lost. That was another friendly. I don't actually don't remember, guys. That's crazy. Um, it was Peru. Right, there we go. It was Peru. Right, there you go. Lozano at minute 85 scores to have like a decent volley inside the net. You guys get it. If you watch the game, you will know what I'm talking about, right? If not, just know that right now this is probably the only attacking. When it comes to attackers, the only guy in your mind should be this guy. I don't think. I'm not saying Funes Mori is not a good player. I'm also not gonna say that Jimenez might not turn up. Who knows? Who knows? But in my opinion, the one player that, we're gonna be seeing again, because, like I said, we have already seen him, like when he played the last World Cup 2018. When he played against Germany, the match he played was just fantastic, right? Um, let's see what else. Kevin Alvarez, yeah, this guy, very very good for them to call him Luis Chavez. Really good player to call up. He has not had that much of luck being called up in the national team. I don't think it's his fault. I mean, he's been in a club, Pachuca, that's been on top of La Liga MX football for like the past, let's say, half a decade, probably more, but I'll say half a decade because I know they've been winning for a long time. We'll just go ahead and say decade because they have been dominating, absolutely dominating that level of football. So, and it's thanks to players like him. Like I said, it's obviously a whole group effort, which is what we're trying to see out of this. But like I said, I just love it whenever we have players that link up together, and they have time play together, so that you can create these social connections between the teams. Because like I said, when it comes to playing this national level football, it's all important about communication. Because it's very hard when you don't see somebody for like another year after you play with them, or maybe another half a year, or another uh let's say 3 months, because like I said, you don't know when you get injured, when you don't get called up to play a friendly game. Like I said, it all involves about how involved you are into your national team. And like I said, the culture that is built around this team is that when there's friendlies for the national team, the European players usually have to show up, because that's how they get their minutes in. And that's why, like I said, a lot of people see Tata Martino as like, he's kind of mistaken to see it like this. It's like, just get the one that's informed, the one that's showing off. But like I said, it's kind of a mix in between. You just have to build a culture around the team, and that's something that I think he's been missing out on. He's not that kind of manager that shows that kind of, you know, that kind of building those kind of relations with the players. Because a lot of the players in there are not really a big fan of the way he does things. Because like I said, he doesn't really let a lot of youngster players shine that much. But at the same time, he also knows that that's the way that you have to build it. A national team, you have to involve a lot of youngster players, and you can't just do that by just bringing them on friendlies. You have to do that by bringing them in the big moments and letting them, show their skills, get to know their team. You know what I mean? Like, don't just be swapping out players just because you just, you know what I mean, you just imagine it like that. Because like I said, we don't have that many players that are like in every position. You know what I mean? Like, we're not like a France. Because that's a problem that France has. The problem with France is that they have so many good players in every goddamn position. Like, they have like four different goalkeepers, if not more. And then, not to mention all the other positions of fullbacks, center backs. I mean, they have center backs like, they probably have center backs like a woman changes clothes, man. Like, they have so many amount of center backs. The amount of times that a woman changes clothes is crazy. Like I said, I don't even know what I brought that joke back, but you get what I'm saying. It's just like I said, he needs to stop treating this like it's a very humongous nation. Like I said, it is a big nation, but for the fact that people don't, the people of Mexico support this. They're probably the biggest supporters of their own nation. They have been for like the longest now. Like, even in terms of money, views, it's mainly because of the Mexico's nation. They all support their national team. It's just like a religious thing. And like I said, um, this is what makes this team big. It's not just pure talent. It's just heart, the character that you need to have to be in this team. And like I said, all these players in here, I just think the opinions that we have in terms of who's getting called up and who's not, it's just kind of out of hand. Like people saying like, oh, we didn't call this guy. Oh, here goes nothing. We're gonna go to dog. You know what I mean? We're just gonna be dog shit, without him. But like I said, it just goes beyond that. I think it goes beyond that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's some players that if you don't call them up, like, it's a very obvious call up. You know what I mean? If you don't call up Lozano, even though he's not injured, not only are you breaking relations with this player, you're kind of just telling them like I don't need you. You know what I mean? You're 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 making your team suffer from a stupid decision. But in this occasion, like I said, it's not that bad of an occasion for what he's doing. There are some players that maybe you might say like, why is he calling Roberto Alvarado when he could have called Linus, right? And in my opinion, actually, I'm going to say yeah. Like, why didn't he call Linus, right? But like I said, Linus doesn't play the kind of football that Martino likes to play. Um, he Martino has his own way of making up this Mexico team that he's making, because all this that we've been seeing, the way they're performing, is just an invention of his. Just like the way he's making a system of them, and like I said, he's kind of done a bad job of that. He's not really good at it. He doesn't have uh that kind of, you know, say like that. He hasn't grown that culture or made this stronger culture. You know what I mean? That the actual Argentinian team has built like they have now. They rebuilt with the players that they had. They already had talented players. They had very good talented players. I mean, when they went to the 2014 last final of the World Cup, I mean, like I said, even then they were just, like I said, it's that culture they have in them. The culture, you know what I mean? Like I said, the way that Argentina has, that's why people believe for them to win even more the World Cup, because of the culture behind them, more than Brazil. Even though Brazil has 5 World Cups, like I said, it's just it's just that Mexico is missing. But let's just hope that they build this. They're building this up from all the years that they've had. They can easily use these things to their advantage to win this game. Because like I said, this is the only game they need to win. And technically, obviously, if Poland somehow manages to trash on Argentina, well, that's a different story. You know, Mexico would probably have to tie them. But other than that, I think Mexico's pretty good. Have a good has really good chances of winning the matches that they need to win to get out of this group stage. So yeah, guys, it's just me. I just wanted to share my opinion with you guys. I didn't want to get too in depth with anything. Like I said, I'm not trying to, you know, impersonate Martino the way that he thinks exactly, because I don't know exactly how he thinks. But from what I've seen, he's building, you know, he's building something with Mexico that maybe hasn't worked out for him. But in this World Cup, like I said, it's all about the players. It's all about the players. It's all about the support, the mentality of these players. Because you have a month. You don't have 6 months. You don't have a year. You have a whole month to figure yourself out with your teammates, and get to work. That's why a lot of big nations will probably fall in this World Cup, because they just haven't. You know what I mean? You just have to be ready for it. It's not just like you build this up from just a year, and you know what I mean. You pick the players already. Like, it's kind of just have to be a culture that is brought in within the club, and that just influences the players in it, and it makes them play good. Because like I said, the players are, decent. Obviously, well, Mexico doesn't have the players that France has, like I said, but if we have a decent culture around the club, around the national team, excuse me, uh, we can build up those relationships within the players, with the team, with the manager, so that they have that trust in him. Because like I said, that's all it has to do. You just have to trust each other. You have to build those relationships. You have to stop cutting all that. You have to cut all that distrust that you might have in somebody that's in the national team, because that causes division, and it just causes your team to lose. And like I said, it's a very hard pill to take, but yeah, this is just my opinion. I think Mexico has a chance. Let's hope they take it. Let's hope that we get out the group stage again. And 'cause like I said, this should hopefully help with the younger players, the newer generations that come, to learn from this mistake. Because to me, the mistake was that the vision and all these Mexico players, That's why Vela's not in the team, right? Because of a lot of division, a lot of the culture that, you know, kind of just split up. It's kind of just not there no more, you know. And like I said, there's a lot of opinions going around, including mine, that may have cause for stuff like this to happen. And I mean, people that have the voice to speak it, maybe just haven't really been helping. But all we can do is help, and we just have to understand that it's just the way that things are right now. And like I said, I think I still think we have a good chance. I think that Araujo might start against this Polish team because, primarily speaking, the Polish team they have very tall, very physical type strikers, and as well as center backs and midfielders. They're all physical. They attack. You know what I mean, nonstop. They're very focused. They're just a European team. Like I said, they're just an authentic European team. And there's nothing else we can really see different from them. Um, I think their last game was it. I think it was versus Wales. Okay, so Wales is a very hard team to beat. That's probably why they're favorites to win this match. To be honest, see, this is from Lewandowski right here, minute 57. So yeah, they have a really really tough midfield. Also not to ignore that their center backs, their and their goalkeeper. I think the goalkeeper might even get man of the match. I'm not gonna lie. Either goalkeeper or Lewandowski. They have to take this man of the match if they win, right? But like I said, it's hard, but not impossible in my opinion. Poland are definitely the stronger team, but Mexico being the underdog, they could still clutch this up. Let's just hope that Martino does what he needs to do, and gets the job done. A lot of people are expecting for Mexico to get knocked out. At first I kind of was too, but and I also already knew the players that were gonna get called up, so I was like, I mean, technically speaking, even with or without Tecatito, I don't think we would have like you know what I mean, saved ourselves from anything. We kind of just would have had to wait until we got a chance to rebuild the national team with a different manager. But um, actually, I wouldn't be surprised either if after we lose all these games, except for the Saudi Arabia game, which I hope we don't, that Martino is still in the Mexico team because um, the the federation is very weird, very weird in its ways. But regardless, guys, um, yeah, my prediction is probably a tie or that Mexico could possibly get the split decision with a goal. But like I said, let's just hope Lozano puts in a shift, or if Tata Martino can actually build a strong midfield that can press a lot better than they have recently. Because like I said, the mid defense isn't necessarily the best, but if we had a strong communication between a strong bondage between these players, the midfield and the center backs, we should have a very very strong, very strong match against Poland. We could take the upper hand. But like I said, it's very very difficult to predict exactly or like sort of what might happen. But like I said, it's just my opinion. I decided to share it with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, um, I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to show you guys. I think I wanted to show you the 2018 World Cup campaign because it was the last campaign that Poland had for the World Cup before 2009 to 2009 was their last World Cup campaign before 2018. So it tells you what a long way they had before they had a very mature Lewandowski, all these other players, Szczesny, um, Zielinski, who did play at that time, 2018. So like I said, Um, they were third in their group, so they didn't manage to get out. In the world in the Euros, they lost against Sweden 3-2, very tight match. So like I said, I think Poland are a very very tough team. Not exactly because they're 100% of the time on their ship, but they're fighters, so they can bring games back. So if Mexico takes an advantage like they did versus Colombia, it might be another Colombia match, another 3-2, where they lose 3-2. Mexico, like I said, if they don't, get their shit together and pull this one through. But regardless, guys, if you guys enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching. All right, have a good one.